owners of the StablesTheatre. When did you first come along here and what got you involved?
It was February 1962. I was a baby in arms, believe that if you like. A girl I was going out with at the time, she was asked to do props on a show. And I came along with her. And I'm still here. I don't know where she is now. And it went from there. The first show was the Curtin Players, which was one of the groups that used to form part of the Hastings and District Theatre Guild as it then was. And it was a play called To Kill a Cat. And the major thing I remember about it was that Ivan Birch used to do the crits then for the Observer. In the days when the paper could be published very rapidly, he came and saw the show Wednesday night, he wrote it up and put it in on Thursday morning, it was published with a picture on Saturday. That was in the days when they had to do all the lead printing, and instead of having these magic computers that can do it so quickly. You can't get it at all. And the comment I remember from it was something about he wished he could have been a cat and crept into the crypt. Many years later I was talking to him about it, and he said I shouldn't have said that, I was naughty. But it got us, I think, a very good house that night because nobody would believe it. They all came to support. And it went on from then. And the first guild, I did 2 shows with Curtin, and then I was asked to help on the Theatre Guild's Hamlet, which was, what I suppose, April, something like that. We can always look up the dates and confirm that. And I was on shift work in those days, so I used to work for the bus company on the engineering side. And I came in on, it opened I think on a bit earlier than a normal run, it was an extended run. And I came in on the Monday night after finishing shift work over the weekend to be told that hurry up and learn the board because I've got you're doing the lighting on Wednesday. And I'd never done it before. This was on the old board with all the slider dimmers. Just to help someone had rigged up an old tape recorder with a lot of headsets and microphones so that all the crew could talk to one another. Because somewhere or other they'd hired 2 follow spots. We couldn't think why for doing Hamlet, but 2 follow spots, and that was the first time we used this trap up in the roof. The poor fellas up there were creeping over very narrow joists with no floor and trying not to fall through. And we were getting messages down the telephone, down the intercom saying, "Tell Ophelia not to laugh, we can see her in her coffin." And it went on from then. And I was stage managing and lighting. We used to do 12 plays a year, and I seem to remember it for about 3 years. I think I stage managed 11 and lit 1. But I was doing lighting as well. Well, the first time we did the Man for All Seasons, I had someone, I think it was the girl I came down here with, she was up on the lighting board working it, and I chalked sort of letters or numbers on the various old slider dimmers, got on the intercom, and I was wandering around on the up and down the side of the stage directing the lighting each night. Nobody could tell what it looked like because you couldn't see from the side. It was trying to follow people with the lighting.
You never got involved on actually going on stage?
No, it's against my religion. I'm a devout coward. Now this way, people know something's gone wrong. They're not always sure who's done it, and you can get away with it. But if you're on stage, you've got to get out of it yourself, or rely on someone else.
Well, so sometimes you can make a mistake on the lights, and you can make a mistake on the
sound.
You can make a mistake on the sound, and
well, yes,
nobody, only you and those in the know about it, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how many plays do you think you've been involved with? Almost all of them.
Pretty well. I used to miss the odd one or two when, as I say, I was on shift work.
So it's getting on for 500 plays you've done.
Get that way, yeah.
That must be an
plus professional shows.
Plus professional shows and everything else, yes.
I doubt there's
absolutely.
many stage managers or techies that in the business,
Yeah.
professionally or otherwise, that have done as many. I must be a fool.
What have been some of your favourite? What have been some of your favourite plays?
Oh,
Or most eventful ones?
There was one of the. It was one of the Shakespeares, as I remember. And at the time, I was working away. I was travelling up to Sheerness every day and coming back. And on Fridays, we were late finishing. It was putting in a bonus system. We had to work it all out on Friday night so that they knew first thing Monday morning what they'd earned. So we were late finishing. And I rushed home all the way from Sheerness, sort of, hour and a half drive. Rushed home, had something to eat, changed it into working clothes, got down here in time for the interval, which was known about. Someone covered it. And they said, oh, we've been having problems, we've got a smell of burning from the lighting board somewhere. So I think this all tied in on the same one. And we started the second act, took the house lights down, it was an old winder dimmer. You may remember it, down in the stage manager's corner. And a few seconds into the play there was a bang and all the house lights came back on again. So we rapidly knocked those out.
There was a bang and they came on.
Yeah, the dimmer had blown.
Oh, I see.
Shorted out. Yes, gave up the ghost. And then we had a scene drop and there was a scene in front of the main curtains. And Cliff Poole, who some people will remember, used to be here helping. And he said, with all these things, all we want now is the curtain line to break.
And it did.
So I told him, shut up, hit him, more or less. And pulled the curtain lines up, and it broke. And so it rapidly dropped the other curtain.
Oh.
Turned to the person who was on the sound deck, which used to be in the stage manager's corner, and put some music on. Get the ladder, rapidly. So he shot across the stage to get the ladder and put it up. I untied the broken bit of rope, he shot up the ladder, fed it through the lines, and dear old Tom Child was directing the play and in it, trying to climb up the ladder to help in tights and a sword. So we threw him off, pulled the rope. As soon as I could reach the rope, Cliff came down and got shot off with the ladder. I pulled it through, tied the knot, fell into the stage corner, turned off the working lights and cut the music, took the curtain up and we were away. Nobody believed that we'd done it. What we'd done. I don't know how many seconds it took, but it was quick.
It's amazing what you can do when you try sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, we did it without trying. It was sheer panic.
Sheer panic, yes. Talk about different plays and everything else, but there's been some real personalities in this place over the years, hasn't there? Who do you remember most affectionately, or perhaps not so affectionately?
Better not talk about those.
Yeah.
My Tom Child, of course, Uncle Tom, who designed the theatre, or the backstage part of it, and I did several shows for him, and he was always very gruff, not sort of really say thank you. But I know during one of his Shakespeare plays, had hellish heavy scene changes. I think it was Romeo and Juliet. And he suddenly said to me in the middle of a change one night, he says, have you got a tire pressure gauge? Not on me, but I might have one in the car. Oh, what the hell's he up to now? Last night he says, here, gave me a tyre gauge. There's a thank you. And then another time he said to me, oh, hang on, I've got something in the car. We've been there for ages. I've been meaning to let you have it. And it's a little book called The Small Theatre and Its Equipment.
Oh.
Which I thought, well, that was nice. And then he'd signed it.
Oh, it was nice.
He got it specially for me and signed it, which was...
Oh, that's rather nice, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another character was dear old Don Bazeeby, who was a sort of a sidekick to Tom. And all the daft things that we had with him. We came in one night and we found they put a new set of lines on the curtain, main curtains, with a great big woolly fluffy thing on the end for pulling it, which was wonderful. Still the rope to cut our hands. So we pulled it up and got hold of the ropes. And it was nylon, which slipped straight through our fingers. We couldn't lift the curtains at all. So we rapidly changed it back and slung the... We've never seen that thing since. And then he put in a telephone system, which eventually worked. But it was sort of Emmett meets, what's the name, Robinson, Heath Robinson. It was mad. He started off, when you pressed the button on the phone to call another station, he'd used a little car flasher unit to flash the light, which was clever. And he worked about twice and then gave up the ghost. So next time we came in, we found a wooden box on the wall. It was so big. What the heck's that? And when we opened it up, there was an electric motor in there and a contactor unit, so that when you lifted the phone and pressed the button, the electric motor started up and flashed the lights for you. And up on the fly gallery, the flasher unit and the light was in a little Tupperware box mounted on the wall, so you used to go up onto the light and hang on, my sandwich box is flashing. Mad. And then he fitted it. It was at the time of the 10th birthday, and he put in hot water in the dressing rooms. First time ever they'd had cold water only up till then. Puts in this hot water system, and Max Adrian was the first person to use it. And he came off stage after the show and came into the dressing room and came out a moment or two later. Should I be paddling in hot water? He'd used plastic piping, cold water piping for a hot water system, and it would just... there was piping all over the place and water everywhere. And of course the other one was dear George, who was here. Well, the first night I came here I met him. And...
he did an awful lot, didn't he?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the pictures of him from the very first day that the stables took over the place, up a ladder outside on the west side, cleaning out the gutters so that the place didn't flood with water anymore. And over all the years we worked together, sort of most of the time best mates around the place, but sometimes, well, like anybody, he could be a bit of a pain. But usually you could get around him because he had his ways of doing things, and he was right. But if you sort of dribble ideas, you suddenly found you would do it the way you wanted to do it, or the way that the others thought was best. And that's how we went on.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? To govern the country by prayers.
Yes, I would.
I'd like to be there when you try. Who will deal with all this paper after me? You, Fisher, Suffolk?
Fisher for me, Your Grace.
Aye, but for the king. What about my secretary, Master Cromwell?
Cromwell?
You'd prefer to do it yourself?
Me rather than Cromwell?
Then come down to earth. And until that time, allow for an enemy. Here.
As Your Grace pleases.
As God wills.
Perhaps so, Your Grace.
More. You should have been a cleric.
Like yourself, Your Grace.
Most of the time these days you do the lighting, don't you?
Yes, near the bar. No, it's interesting, and it's the more interesting part. Well, I find it the more interesting part. And the stage manager should, when he's doing a play, he's responsible for sorting the furniture out and all sorts of things. And I thought, well, I don't want all that responsibility. I'm the technical manager now and I'm overall responsible, but I don't want too much of that on top of all the other jobs. So I'm quite happy paddling away in my little box.
By the magic of video, we've suddenly jumped from backstage up into the lighting box, John. In front of you is the modern lighting board. Can you sort of explain a bit about it for us?
Oh, well, what we do appears on the screen. If I put one up, there you go, you can see it coming up, the value. This goes up to 96 channels, we've got 72, all independent. We can put different lights on different circuits and do different values. With all, you can see it goes from 0 to full. And then we can program it, we can put times on it. Let's see. We've got 1 second Q1 there. We put it, and the time comes up there. It won't show there because I haven't recorded it. But we can also alter it too. It'll come up in 5 seconds. It'll go down in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So we can put all sorts of times on it.
So this is a far cry from the original board that you had
Slide
when you
it.
first started.
You burn your hands on them. Now all the heat and stuff is at the far end of the building. Not as much heat these days.
And your view of the theatre
Is there?
is there. And you're building the set at the moment for the next play.
For the Americans, proof.
One of the things that you do is that you do a very clever thing when we've got guns going off or fireworks going off or lightning. Just show us what you do with your fingers on the switches.
Well, you can either do that,
Yeah.
or which flashes them all.
Flashes and all
Communicate
on and off at once. You
Yes.
communicate backstage. And
And I
you're
could whisper into this and
chattering away.
oh no, whisper.
Whisper.
Because people are just outside the window there. They don't want to hear it. They wouldn't talk to us.
Watching you work up there, you're always in touch with the stage manager all the way through, and it's almost as though you're doing the thing in tandem. It's as though you're working very closely together.
Yeah.
But is the stage manager in charge or are you in charge?
It depends.
Yes.
No stage manager is responsible. I tried, everything is aimed at getting it done, trying to do it the best we can.
Yeah, but you're the only one who can actually see what's happening on the stage.
Oh, well, in that case, I have to guide the stage or keep them
Tell you there's a
picture.
light showing or something
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Keep
And of
them-
course, it's interesting. You're always telling this. You're waiting for the stage manager to tell you that the cast is ready,
Yeah.
and then you're waiting for the front of house manager to shut the curtains so you can dim the lights and get on with things.
Well, again, through the stage manager, it still falls up to him for the final go.
Yeah. Mm. You were telling me a little while ago, John, about a story that I'd not heard before about probably one of the most important people involved with the stables over the
Must be
years.
Dick.
And talking about Dick, of course. Fondly remembered by those who do remember him. You were telling me a story about him.
Yeah.
About his life before he came here, which
Yeah,
was
that-
a very interesting story.
Well, that all came about when the first Old 10 weeks started up. The theatre used to be closed, and we used to open it perhaps 3 evenings a week to do a guided tour, which you've recorded one of them. And I remember 2 or 3, most of these evenings, we used to go to the bar afterwards, which we could manage to open up and have a quick one on the house sort of thing. And